Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Drew Sims, and today I'm in Mount Hood doing 2 nights of winter camping. This looks like a decent spot. Mount Hood should be over there, but it's pretty socked in right now. I was hoping this spot would be a little more tree covered, but the wind was coming from this way anyway. So I think I'll be pretty covered from the wind. Really not snowing too hard right now, and I'm gonna try to back the tarp up onto those trees behind the Jeep. We'll do get the tent open and then get the kitchen going. So I ended up switching spots. The one down there was all right, but I liked how this backed up into the trees a little more, so when I cook, I have a little cover from the wind. The other one was a little more exposed than I wanted, but I like this one, just right off the road, but I don't think anyone's coming through tonight, so I should be fine. Gonna get the tent going and gonna get some food going. Whew. Just got a little windier, a little colder, but really excited to try this tent out tonight. I've yet to sleep in it in the snow. We'll do a bigger review once I sleep in it maybe 2 or 3 times, and for now I'll try to set up the kitchen. Pretty cheap looking tarp, but I didn't feel like buying an expensive one and didn't feel like buying an awning right now, so hopefully this works out. We'll see how it goes. These are what it came with, just a bunch of bungees. Probably hook it up to the shower somehow and maybe bungee down to the tires. Also bought some paracord, but might just be able to get away using these. Definitely no awning, but I think it'll do for tonight. Probably could have gone one size bigger. I think this is a 8x8 or 8x6. I probably should have gone like 10x15. I think it was the next size up, but this will work. And now I'm just going to use just a little paracord from Walmart, super cheap too. A decent alternative instead of dropping a bunch of money on an awning. Not too bad. Not really any rhyme or reason to how I hooked it up, but a pole right here would be nice. For 15 bucks, I think it worked pretty well. So I ended up just wrapping this sleeping pad in some extra paracord and then putting it between the lift gate and the top of the tarp. It's not the prettiest, but it gets the job done and gives me a lot of extra room, which is nice. And also the snow is building up already just on top of the tent. It's only 4 o'clock right now and it's already pretty dark, so I'm gonna do a very early dinner, probably bring a snack for up in the tent around 7 or 8 and just hang out and read. But let's get started on dinner because the snow is coming down pretty hard right now. Going to take a quick break in the video to talk about this week's sponsor, and that is backcountry.com. Backcountry.com is a huge online retailer of outdoor gear, from camping, hiking, climbing, snowboarding, skiing. They literally have it all. I recently got hooked up with some winter gear from Backcountry, including this jacket. This is the Arc'teryx Cerium LT down-hooded jacket and these pants. These are the Fajal Raven Winter Stormland pants. Both have been a much needed addition for me this winter. I've only been wearing a base layer underneath this jacket the past few days, and it's been 20 to 30 degrees and snowing and windy, so I would definitely say this jacket holds up and is super warm, as well as the pants. They're almost like a ski pant in the sense that they are wind resistant and water resistant as well as insulated, but also are just as comfortable as any lightweight hiking pant. I put links for the jacket and the pants both down below in the description, as well as backcountry.com. They're running a big sale on winter gear at the end of this month, so make sure you guys check that out and get some gear of your own. And thank you again to Backcountry for sponsoring this video. Beanie is officially on. It's cold, I'm hungry, and gonna make some dinner. Usually the grill faces that way and the propane rests right here, but because the camera's set up and because the tarp, I flipped it around and just rigged up the propane to hang off of the cutting board. But we'll go ahead and get some chicken, peppers, onions, and some pasta going. Well, I just went to throw some olive oil in and thing is completely frozen. So not sure what I'm gonna do. I have Pam, guess I could do that, but I know it's not gonna be nearly as good as that olive oil. That is a huge bummer. So the car's running right now. I've got the olive oil on the dashboard and the defrost running. We'll see if that thaws it out. I'm gonna give it like 5 minutes, see if it does anything. But while we wait, I'm gonna load up the sleeping bag and pillows and everything up into the tent. This is a Marmot 0-degree bag. I have a sleeping liner as well. I'll probably bring up with me, and then a blanket up top. This 0-degree bag usually holds up pretty nicely. Got the space heater. This thing is a must. I don't run it in the car. I get questions about that all the time if I use it in the Jeep. It's only for the rooftop tent. I'll show you guys that later. And lastly, just 2 pillows. Ouch, look at that. 3 minutes on defrost. Actually worked, so I've got some olive oil now. We'll get back to cooking. So midway through dinner, it got super windy. It still is windy. So I ended up just throwing all the dishes in the front seat, closing up the kitchen. Probably my least favorite thing about living on the road is having to do dishes, and you add, 20-degree weather, snow, and a good amount of wind. It makes it absolutely miserable. So threw everything in the front, gonna wait till morning to do that. And now up in the tent. Now I get asked sometimes if I run this in the Jeep. I definitely do not. It has a carbon monoxide reader, so if it does sense that there's too much CO2, it'll shut itself off. Also, if it bumps, it shuts itself off as well, so if it falls over, it'll shut off. But I don't run it in the Jeep. If I'm in the Jeep and I wake up in the mornings, I'll just crank the heat for a little bit. I'm sure people run it in vans. I'm not going to recommend it. I don't know enough about it if you want to run it in a van. But the tent has enough air circulation and isn't completely sealed in that I'm not too worried about CO2. And like I mentioned, this thing is a lifesaver. I left Florida and this was the first purchase I got on the road. The first night that it was like 50 degrees in the tent, I woke up and wanted this, and now I'm sleeping. I think tomorrow morning is going to be about 15. This thing will come in handy for sure. yeah, that is pretty much it. There's really not much else to do during the winter while living on the road. It gets dark at 5 and it's cold and windy out right now. So gonna read for a bit, gonna hang out, maybe get up for sunrise. I'll peek my head out and see if anything's going on. But I think it's supposed to snow till 10 and then it's supposed to be partly cloudy starting at 2. So fingers crossed I get that second campsite that I was scoping out with a view of Mount Hood. I'll do a fire tomorrow night and hang out for a bit longer. But yeah, I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning, guys. There wasn't really much of a sunrise this morning, but it's like 8 o'clock now, maybe 45 minutes after sunrise, and the clouds have cleared. So I went ahead and moved the Jeep to position the tent to face Mount Hood, and I'll show you guys my view. Well, that was a pretty spectacular morning. Like I mentioned, sunrise rolled around and it was super cloudy and windy, and then all of a sudden 8 o'clock rolled around, sky cleared, and it's been blue sky since, and it's absolutely beautiful right now. The sun is peeking up behind me, starting to warm up a little bit, which is nice. And yeah, I flew my drone this morning, as you guys saw. Make sure you're always checking air maps. That's a site I use a lot to see where you can and cannot fly your drone. It's illegal to fly your drone at the Mount Hood area, but I'm actually 500 yards behind that, so I can legally fly here, and that's why I chose this camp spot in this area. But just make sure you're always checking. It's kind of just common courtesy to know where you can and cannot fly, and it's illegal to fly in Mount Hood. But yeah, we'll get breakfast started and get moving. After how cold it was last night, I think I deserve a big breakfast burrito this morning. So that's what I'm gonna do. So you're probably thinking to yourself, that was a giant breakfast for one person, and you're absolutely right. I usually do a pretty big breakfast and then a small lunch, or even just a snack for lunch, maybe yogurt and granola or some fruit or something, and then a pretty good sized dinner. But yeah, I'm gonna clean up here, get everything organized, and then head out, maybe go to those lakes I was talking about earlier, or just hang around the area and take some photos. I have to do dishes now, which, like I mentioned, is literally my least favorite thing about living on the road. I'm kind of just sitting here enjoying the sun and pushing and procrastinating doing the dishes, but I think it's that time, so. Just made it to camp number 2, a little later than I would have wanted. So I went to the first spot that I wanted to go to that I scoped out on Google Earth, and unfortunately there's a giant log blocking the road. I got there at 3:30, that's when I wanted to get in, and then it took me a while to get to this backup spot, which for a backup spot it's not bad. It's a pretty awesome view, but it took me a lot longer than I wanted, so I ended up rolling in here at 4:20 and gonna do a fire tonight, so I'm excited about that. Somehow I did not bring any beer or wine or anything, so that's kind of a bummer. Really blew that one, but fire will be nice. And I'm not going to film dinner tonight just because I'm doing the same thing that I ate last night, the chicken, veggies, and pasta. But I will get that fire going and get dinner going. And yeah, for a backup spot, really not too bad. Bought some fire starters. I usually don't use fire starters, but just because there's snow, I figured it couldn't hurt to have. So I'm gonna start off first by just putting a paper towel down at the bottom and then taking some of this wood and just scraping off the edge here to get some dry pieces of kindling, some small pieces of wood that'll help get the fire going. I just put the paper towel down just so they don't get wet in the snow. You can see here what I'm talking about, just scraping off little pieces, and that way you get something smaller to get the fire started. So I just threw the fire starters on and they are going pretty quickly, so I'm going to toss the wood on now, and hopefully it's not too wet and it actually starts to burn. There's a little bit of snow on it, but I think these should catch pretty easily, especially with the fire starters underneath. Forgot about the olive oil again, so now I'm going to throw it by the fire tonight. See if I can heat it up. The chicken is almost done. Gonna throw the pasta in a sec. Fire's starting to die a little bit, and I only have 2 pieces left of wood, unfortunately, but I think that'll last through dinner. And then I'm ready to get up in that tent and go to bed. So it is definitely colder tonight than it was last night. But this fire is so nice to have. Happy I saved it for tonight. Well, this is another insane morning. Super quiet this morning, no wind at all. It's beautiful out right now, and Mount Hood's about to get lit up with some morning light. I think I'm going to flip the Jeep around really quickly so the tent faces that way, just so I can get some photos from back in those trees of the Jeep with the tent and Mount Hood lighting up in the background. I'll probably throw the drone up for a bit too. But it is beautiful out right now, and very happy I made it here for 2 nights of winter camping. I don't know if I'm just excited because it's a good sunrise, but I feel pretty warm right now. I've got 2 pairs of socks on today, so maybe I'm just layered up a little better today. Now let's get moving before sunrise hits. It is about to pop off. My hands are frozen. I'm gonna grab my zoom lens, shoot from back there, and then throw the drone up. But behind me, the sky's already lighting up. Well, that was pretty insane. I got some good photos. I'm gonna throw it in the video for you guys to see. It's honestly pretty tough without 2 cameras because I wouldn't consider myself a vlogger. I'd say I'm a photographer before I am a YouTuber or a vlogger or anything. So trying to film for you guys and also trying to take photos is tough with 1 camera. So I think I'll be getting a second setup pretty soon, maybe the A7S III, just so I can video and take photos at the same time. But that was an unreal sunrise. I'm gonna throw the drone up for a bit. I know sunrise is pretty much gone, but I think it'll still look pretty cool. So we'll toss this up and see what we can get. So it is 10:30 right now. I still have not eaten breakfast. I got super sidetracked for probably the better half of an hour trying to get some photos of these birds landing in my hand and some video as well. See if this guy will come over. Actually just landed on top of the camera. There he goes. So that was pretty cool. I tried yesterday to do it, but I got a little too nervous when they would come close. But today, I finally got them to come over. Woo. That one freaked me out. Came from behind. Got no food. The tent has dropped some of the ice that was on top of it, so that's good. The sun's been kind of on and off out. But I'm gonna pack this up, head down a little bit, and then make breakfast down there. Well, the spot I was trying to get to, Mount Hood was covered up and it was windy on the edge out there. So I ended up finding a nice little spot in the interior. There's no wind and the sun's actually out behind me. Mount Hood is this way and is completely covered up with clouds. So no reason to sit out there in the wind. It's actually pretty warm right now. I took the jacket off. I've just got this and a base layer on underneath. And gonna make a late breakfast / early lunch. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. It's 12:30 and I'm pretty hungry. So I'm gonna do another big breakfast burrito and then probably head out of here. Well, that pretty much wraps up this vlog. I'm gonna eat breakfast here and then head back to Seattle. I'm hanging out there with a buddy for a few days. I would like to stay a few more nights, but I know tomorrow it's supposed to be a little warmer, which sounds nice, but there's actually gonna be rain tomorrow, not snow. So I'm leaving at a good time, and it'll be a lot easier to leave today when I go by and Mount Hood's covered up with clouds. But all in all, it's been a really fun 3 days. Definitely will be winter camping some more this season. One major takeaway will be to get some rain boots or just 100% waterproof boots. The ones I have now are a pair of Solomon boots, and I love them, and I've taken them on multiple backcountry trips and through rivers and mud, and I've never had an issue with them getting wet. But I just think because they've been covered in snow for the last 48 hours and they melt a little and they freeze and they melt, that my feet have just been freezing. So I'll definitely be investing in a pair of waterproof boots. It's been really nice being out here. I haven't seen anybody else in the last 48 hours, which has been really nice and something I love the most about being on the road, especially, visiting places in the off season is how you get spots like this to yourself. So I've really been enjoying it, and the snow camping was hard, and vlogging the snow camping was a little more difficult than I thought it would be, but really enjoyed myself and will definitely be back. If you guys haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram at drew.sims. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.